We're shaking, folks. Back with another reaction, back with some more Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark. And once again, big shout out to Phil, who's sharing their catalog along with many other discographies. And as is the case with most of these album folders, this one features bonus tunes after we get through the tracks on the proper record. So yeah, once again, big shout out to you, Phil. And we're up to Radio Waves. In the modern global technological human civilization, radio waves are ubiquitous. They are, from everything up to state level processes right on down to personal recreation and entertainment. Radio waves are used in the study of the solar system, the galaxy, the cosmos. Again, they are very much ingrained in multiple aspects of modern human civilization. Now, obviously, the title is just a phrase, and any one rendering of radio waves is not necessarily clear here, but ultimately it speaks to a technological type of concept. It speaks to light, which radio waves, we don't normally think of them as optical light, but they are light. They are longer wavelengths on the electromagnetic spectrum. So yeah, any of these things seems like fruitful ground for an album that speaks to concepts of being dazzled and many other, fair to say, the entire track listing, right? Like, it has a number like Telegraph and Radio Prague, radio waves, time zones. It feels very technological and a sort of at least semi-concept thematic expression. In any case, I shall stop talking like a crazy person. We shall listen to the tune Radio Waves by Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark from their 1983 album Dazzle Ships. Like the percussion emerge from that dissonantly rhythmic transmission.
From the transmitter
This is interesting.
to the receiver.
It's quite a shift. This section. I like the electric metallic feel of that. Never not love it. A bit chipped to me with the synth line. see this one or hear this one fade. Yeah, I really like that a lot, and in part because it was a wild ride overall. And it's interesting, I've said a number of times, I feel like already, that OMD, much more than I realized when I was aware of the name, and again, maybe just one major hit when I was younger. But I've said that, they had a much more unique and, very creative experimental style, at least, up to the point that I've been listening to, that I knew, even though I was aware of them. But I feel like this tune not only expressed that very notably, but it's funny because there were a couple moments where I was thinking about other group sonics, but that doesn't really take away from the fact that I've, again, come to see OMD as, very much in their own lane. But there was a moment early on with all that dissonance and before it took off where I was like, man, it's kind of reminding me of some of the more austere stuff on the first couple Human League albums. And then when it took off and it kind of had this wild, almost like post-punk feel to it, it reminded me of some of the early Echo and the Bunnymen stuff, where it has this like, yeah, it's got keyboards, but it feels, kind of very, high tempo, and it's got an edge to it, a guitar-based edge to it. So again, without contradicting myself earlier, hopefully, it did make me think of a couple other groups in this track, but it's funny because it's like those are two very different things, and yet it was in the same track. So obviously when it took off, right as I was sort of like, oh, let me adjust the volume, I think I can, go up a bit without like redlining, it really took off, which I enjoyed. And again, the beginning of that section, which I guess is the chorus, I really love the way that had just this raw energy. It had this like 80s, like synth rock feel, but with a, there was a bit of a like rebellious edge to it. So yeah, sonically really enjoyed this one. Lyrically, I'm not so sure. Presumably on some level we're talking about like actual radio waves, but it could also, relate to like signs or signals between people. So yeah, curious to hear what people have to say about that. But yeah, another cool track. Looking forward to the next one, which in the moment I don't remember, but I know we're near the end of the album. Yeah, there's two more on the official album, Time Zones, and then Of All the Things We've Made, which I really like that title. And then in the folder, again, big shout out to Philip, we have Telegraph, the Manor version, 1981, and then For Nu, like NEU, and then Genetic Engineering, the 312 millimeter version, and then 66 and Fading, curious about that, and then Telegraph, the extended version, and then Swiss Radio International. So yeah, unless, my only thought was like, maybe, as I look at this, maybe both versions of Telegraph, like maybe people will say the extended version isn't terribly different. But I'd be happy to go through all of them. So either way, let me know. And I'm looking forward to it looks like 3 tracks that are not alternative mixes of an album track, but in fact their own separate thing, presumably B-sides. So yeah, as I said, next time we'll be back for Time Zones. Shout out to Philip once again, and I will see you then. Peace. Did I say Ren?